Good morning, dear ones. I hope you're doing well. Three kind of things happened recently. It's just a series of days, actually. And they've got me thinking, and I wanted to just share a couple thoughts. This is not going to be new or unique or like profound, but often I've learned that some of the things that are most important and most meaningful in life are not new, they're not unique, they're not like original insights. It's just that we need frequent reminders, we need to hear them often, and that it's just sometimes hearing something we've heard before at just the right time will kind of have an impact that it might not otherwise have. But that regardless, we need to hear things frequently, frequent reminders of what's important. First thing is, one of my children was in a serious car wreck, but was unscathed, totally unhurt, and I mean, frankly, it was a miracle. I don't know what else to say. It was a miracle, and kind of just given what happened and the effect on the car and such, it was a miracle. But our family's Christmas and our lives could have been very, very different in just the blink of an eye. Second, I heard recently about just a very, very tragic death. And it's just one of those, it's always tragic when someone dies, but it's one of those that you hear about and suddenly you're thinking, gosh, I just need to make sure I hug my loved ones a little tighter and hold on a little closer and make sure that I don't waste what precious time I have with them. And then third, since the beginning of the school year, actually, I had a really special experience. A student that I had worked with very closely and was very fond of during her time when I was her teacher, came back to school to work with me. She's now an adult, graduated from college, and is off to do just some really wonderful things in the world. But before those things started, had a period of months kind of between things, and reached out to ask if I could use help, and I was thrilled to have her help, because she's a wonderful person and she's also a very competent person, and not always are those two things as intertwined as they were in her. At any rate, yesterday was her last day, and so I had the enormous joy of working with her when she was a student of mine, and back then she was very wonderful and mature and helpful and talented and just a really great kid, one of the ones you just remember. And then now, as an adult, she continues to be a really great person, wonderful, talented, helpful, just someone who perhaps has a talent for being loved. People just respond to her, and it's interesting. I knew her from the past, but colleagues who help me now, who I work with, who didn't know her, very quickly came to the same conclusion. And students who didn't know her of all ages very quickly warmed to her. Anyway, so where I'm going with all these three things is that our lives, generally speaking, are good or bad based on our relationships with people. When we have good people in our lives and we have good relationships, we're generally happy, even if there are other struggles. And there can sometimes be real struggles. But if the people in your life are around you and they're good, and you draw joy from being around them and inspiration and meaning, you have a good life generally. Likewise, when we don't have good people around us, or when we have people we love who can't be around us, either for a short time or an extended period of time, that also can define our life, and that generally is when we feel sadness. So there's so much we can't control in life. I mean, you just never know from one moment to the next. We kind of have an incorrect assumption kind of wired, I think, into our brains that the way it is now is the way it always will be, but that's just not the case. So what I have resolved to do, again, is to slow down, to try to make sure I express my love to people that I care about, express gratitude, to make more time for the people I love, to try to engage with them, to be there for them, to find ways to connect. I realize I don't want anyone ever uncertain about how I feel about them, those I care about, those I love. I don't ever want them to wonder how I feel or felt, because if, God forbid, something happened tomorrow and I wasn't here or they weren't here, it would be sad. But if that happened and I had not taken the chance to make sure they knew how much I appreciated, loved, cared for them, how grateful I was to them and their impact in my life, that would be tragic. That would be genuinely tragic. So hug those you love, be kind to those you don't like. You don't have to be best friends, but just don't be antagonistic. Walk through life in a way that leaves a very small negative emotional footprint, and that leaves a very large positive emotional footprint. And as you do that, you'll find that you attract more and more wonderful people in your life. So anyway, I'm sending you love, all you wonderful people in my life. I hope you know how that I feel about you guys. I'm grateful for your time and engagement. I love hearing from you. I think of you often. And just as always, I'm wishing you so much love. Love, your Internet Grandpa.